Hello, modern language students. Today we are going to continue our study with Spanish. Today we're going to start studying Spanish vocabulary. We are going to start with Spanish numbers and months. We're going to be working with numbers and months with these words all week this week. And I have uploaded a vocabulary list to you for you in Canvas. There's a couple different places you can find this list. First of all, I have put a link to it underneath this video within the announcement. You can find it there. You can also find it in the Files section. And the last place you can find it is in the Module section. That's what I've pulled up on my screen. Now, I know that my module looks just a little bit different than yours because I have some other stuff in here that will be coming out to you later. So on my screen, it's the last thing. It says Spanish numbers and months, and then it has that -1. So that's what you need to open. It'll pull up this screen here, which is kind of small, to kind of hard to see. So I'm going to go ahead and click on download, and it makes it a little bit easier to see. All right, we're going to go through these Spanish words. I want to take a second to kind of explain why this list is the way it is. So for example, on the left you see numbers, and on the right you see months. You're going to see the word in English, then a dash, then you see the word in Spanish. After the word in Spanish, there are some parentheses with some strange kind of words after that, in between. So what that is in parentheses, that is just a pronunciation guide. That's something I've made for you. That is not how you spell it in Spanish. It's just a guide so that you can say it correctly. It's kind of a guide as to what it sounds like so that you're able to say these words correctly in Spanish, or to try to say them correctly. I'm going to go through these words, and I want you guys to listen to how they're pronounced. I want you guys to practice saying these words today. I'm going to go through these. Please listen and kind of take note. I am going to start with the numbers. I am not going to say them in English. I am just going to count in Spanish. So I'm going to go slow, and I want you guys to look at the words as I say them, look at how they're spelled in Spanish, and also kind of look at that pronunciation guide too, so you can kind of see how it matches up. All right, here I go with Spanish numbers. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. All right, let's talk about a few things. I want you guys to look at the numbers 16, 17, 18, and 19. I want you to look at those numbers, and if you guys look at them, they all start the same. They have that DIECI. Now, that word right there is the word for 10. If you look back at 10, it's normally spelled D-I-E-Z, diez. It takes a little bit of a spelling change here, and what you are literally saying is 10 and 7, 10 and 8, 10 and 9, and I forgot 16, so 10 and 6. So you are literally saying the word 10, that I is like saying and in Spanish, and then the word 6. So that's just kind of a cheat to help you maybe be able to remember those words a little bit easier. When you go to the 20s, from 21 through 29, you are literally saying 20 and 1, 20 and 2, 20 and 3. So that's the pattern those follow. The 30s does the same thing, except it's not all smushed together into one word. It's broken out into 3 separate words. So you see 31 is 30, which is 30, y, which means and then the word uno. Really, you guys could go ahead and count all the way up to 39 because it follows that same pattern. So 32 would be 32, 33, 33, 34, 35. It follows that same pattern. One other thing that I forgot to mention is with 16 through 19, so going back up to those numbers, if you struggle with saying those, so for example, 16, 16, break it down, chunk it up so that it's easier for you to say. So for example, 16 could be 16. So if that makes it easier for you to say it, then by all means, say it that way. The more you practice it and say it, the easier it will become. Let's take a look at the months. So the first thing I want you guys to notice about the months in Spanish is that they are not capitalized. Okay? So none of the months are capitalized. I'm going to go ahead and say these months. I want you guys to follow along and listen as to how they're pronounced. All right? Enero, febrero, marzo, abril, mayo, junio, julio, agosto, septiembre, octubre, noviembre, diciembre. All right? A couple things I want to point out to you guys. The J's, like in June and July, they take on an H sound. It is not Junio and Julio, but Junio and Julio. Now, all of these months, something that I want you to know that kind of makes them a little bit easier to remember is that all of these months, except for one, are something called cognates. Now, a cognate is a word that looks and or sounds the same in both languages. So an example of a cognate would be the word chocolate. So chocolate is really similar to chocolate. So it makes it easy to recognize. Now, like I said, all of these months except for one are cognates. So I'm going to give you guys a second. I want you to see if you can figure out which one of these of the months is not a cognate. All right, I'm not sure if you were able to find it or not, but January, enero, is the only one that's not a cognate. Febrero sounds like February. Marzo, kind of similar to March. Abril, April. They're pretty similar. Now, we're not going to do a whole lot with the months, especially this week. We are going to more use them next week when you practice saying your birthday in Spanish. Now, for today, you have one activity. In Canvas, you will find an assignment with the same name. It's going to say Spanish, should just say Spanish numbers and months. That's what yours will say now. I'm going to fix that. I didn't see that mistake. So it'll say Spanish numbers and months. And you are going to open up that assignment. And your assignment for today is to record yourself saying these words in Spanish. Now, please do not stress out about this. Please don't stress out about saying them correctly. This is just a practice. This is just me checking in to kind of hear you guys practice saying these words in Spanish. It does not need to be perfect at all. Please do not worry about that. This is just a chance for me to be able to hear you practicing speaking Spanish. Please, please, please don't stress out about it. You are actually going to record yourself within that assignment. When you guys open it up in Canvas, I'm going to have it set up so that you record yourself right there. When you look down, when you read through the assignment, when you pull it up, it'll have the instructions, and then down below it's going to have a little prompt for you to click to record yourself. And when you click on that, it's going to open up the camera, and you're going to have to allow the microphone to record. You'll record yourself, and when you're done, you'll click submit. So you are not using another app to record yourself. You are doing it right there within Canvas. It keeps it simple, and it makes it easier for both of us. So please record yourself right there. Once you have finished that, again, click submit, and then you will be finished with your work for today. So today we're just going to practice these words in Spanish. This week we're going to continue with these. We're really going to focus on numbers this week. Like I said, next week you will use the months. Really, you're only going to use 1 month, which is the month of your birthday. So next week my goal is that you guys kind of have an idea how to say your birthday in Spanish, along with some other basic things. We're going to be working with saying your name, your age, your birthday, how you're feeling, and where you're from. So that will come next week. Next week is our last week with Spanish. After next week, the week following that, we're going to start French. And we will start off and spend some time with French culture as well. And then we'll wind up the quarter with French vocabulary. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. Again, you will find links to this vocabulary list, and I'll place a link to the assignment underneath this video. I hope you all have a great day.